If my finances felt messy, behind, or just not where I wanted them to be, and if I only had 6 months to turn things around, this is exactly what I would focus on. No overnight hacks, no budgeting to the extreme, not pretending you can build wealth in a weekend, just the most high impact money move that can genuinely change your financial life in half a year. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 steps that I take to fix my finances in 6 months as a personal finance coach and someone that has been in the space for over a decade now. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. So the good news is, you do not need years to start changing your financial situation. 6 months is more than enough to create real momentum if you focus on the right things. And what I mean by that is getting clarity, stopping the leaks, the leaky funnels, building a buffer, setting up a system, starting to invest and making your money work with less effort from you. So if you feel financially behind, overwhelmed, or like you've been avoiding your numbers, this is where I would start. Number 1 is I would get brutally honest about my numbers. Before you can fix anything, you need to know what is actually going on. So the first thing that I would do is sit down and figure out how much money is coming in every month, how much is going out, what debts do I have, what savings do I have, and what my net worth actually is once you have that calculation. Because most people are not struggling only because of income, they're struggling because they're operating in the dark, not really knowing what the situation are, and almost having fear at the prospect of looking into their bank account and seeing what the number is actually like. So you cannot improve what you refuse to look at. And honestly, this step is really uncomfortable for most people, really. But it's also the point where you stop feeling vague about money anxiety and start dealing with facts instead. That alone in itself is super powerful. And if you take away anything, I would say this: get real with your money numbers. Number 2, I would cut the spending that adds no real value to me. Once I understood my numbers, the next step that I would do is not to slash everything. It would be to cut the spending that is giving me low joy and low return, if you will. So that might be subscription that I barely use, for example, or convenience spending that has become almost automatic, a default. So, instead of taking a tube, you always default to Uber or Bolt. Can we change that back? Random impulse purchases, for example, or eating out in ways that do not even feel intentional anymore, just again for the convenience piece of it, or lifestyle creep that quietly, raises my monthly baseline and without me even noticing it. The goal here is not to make life miserable. Of course, we're here to have a good time, but the goal is to create space. Every unnecessary pound or dollar or euro leaving your account is money that could be buying you peace of mind, flexibility, or future freedom instead. And, in just 6 months, even small cuts can make a visible difference. Number 3. I would build a proper cash buffer in case I didn't have it. That would be my absolute priority. If you don't have emergency savings, everything feels more fragile than it needs to be. So one of my biggest priorities in the first 6 months would be to build a cash buffer, an emergency fund. Not because cash is, exciting, not because it gives you huge returns. It does not. That's not its purpose. It's because it gives you stability and security, and yes, potentially freedom as well. A cash buffer means one bad month does not become a crisis, one unexpected bill does not go on a credit card, and one work issue does not mean completely derailing your course of action. For some people, that might be building the first £1,000 that they have. For others, it might mean getting to 3 months of essential expenses. But either way, the concept is one of the fastest ways to reduce financial stress and financial burden. Number 4, I would automate the basics. This is where money really starts getting easier, because the problem for most people is not that they don't know what to do, is that they rely on motivation every month. And this is a terrible system. We are faulty beings that if we consistently rely on motivation, nothing is really going to get done, or the chances of it not being done is very high. So if I had 6 months to fix my finances, I would automate as much as possible. That includes bills, savings, investments, debt repayment, especially so, and even sinking funds for future expenses that you will spend money on. So gifts in Christmas, travel during the summer. Automation really removes friction and it reduces decision fatigue, most importantly. It makes good financial behaviors much more consistent and easier, because this is how you stop trying to be better with money and you start really building a system that works even when life gets busy on your side. and it will get busy. We all know it will get busy. Number 5, I would start investing even if the amount feels very small. So a lot of people delay investing because they think that they need loads of money to begin, and perhaps they don't have a financial buffer, a cash buffer to at the moment, right? So they want to build that fast. And I absolutely agree with that. However, I do think that building the habits of investing, even with £50 a month, £100 a month, is much, much more important than waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment does not exist. If I were resetting my finances, I would start investing as soon as I had a basic grip on spending and, no immediate cash needs or chaos, if you will, and some emergency savings, on the way and in the belt. Because investing is not something you do later when you feel rich. Actually, you do it as soon as you possibly can. It's one of the ways that you build wealth in the first place. So even a modest monthly contribution matters, because what you're really building is not just the money, it's the habits, it's the identity, it's the long-term system of you as an investor. And 6 months is really enough to move from I keep meaning to invest, I'll do it one day, to I am now an investor. And that shift really matters mentally and realistically for your money as well, concretely. And the last point that I would do in the first 6 months, I would focus on increasing income, not just cutting costs. And you knew this was coming. This is the part that too many people miss. Yes, of course, the budgeting matters. Yes, controlling spending matters, but there's only so much you can cut. And income growth changes the game, and it's potentially uncapped. So if I had 6 months, I would absolutely ask myself, can I negotiate my salary? Can I apply for better paid roles? Can I freelance on the side? Can I sell a skill? Can I learn a new skill? Can I create a second income stream in any way, shape, or form? Can I monetize a hobby, like something that I already know? Because the faster financial transformation usually come from a combination of better money management, which we, talked about in a previous point, and more money coming in. And you need both, ultimately. So if you really want to accelerate your financial freedom. So if you only focus on cutting back without growing your earning power, progress will feel much slower than it needs to be. So if I had 6 months to wrap it up and summarize, to fix my finances and set myself for a path of financial success, this is what I would do. I would get honest about the numbers, cut the spending that adds no value, build a cash buffer, automate the basics, start investing, and increase the income. That's it. It's not complicated. Some people say it's not glamorous. It is glamorous to me. I think it's one of the most exciting things you can do to really set yourself up for success. And it's incredibly effective, because changing your finances is usually not about one big move. It's about a handful of solid, small decisions that are repeated consistently, and very good habits that you start building as soon as you can. And in 6 months, you can genuinely put you in a different position in 12 months' time. So if you had to reset your finances over the next 6 months, which of these would make the biggest difference for you? And if you want, we can also organize a conversation, a one-on-one. So I'm curious to ask you guys, if you had to reset your finances for, over the next 6 months, which of these would make the biggest difference in your opinion? And if you're interested in doing one-on-one coaching, of course, I do have a few clients now, 5 or 6 at the time speaking. So if you're interested, I'll drop my calendar link below. We can set up a discovery call completely for free, and I hope to see many of you there. Bye bye.